Shalom, and welcome to Challenging Torah, a project of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv, be'eretz Canaan, ele todot Yaakov. That's how it begins. Now Jacob was settled, that's the key word, in the land where his fathers had sojourned, in the land of Canaan. This then is the line of Jacob. We have a sense of settling, Yeshuv Hadat, settling in. It's been 20 years since Jacob first ran away, pursued by at least the fear of his brother Esau. He's collected a huge family, lots of sheep and goats. He's put up the altar he's supposed to. He's wrestled with the angel. He's looked at his dreams, and he's ready for early retirement. He's got to be in his mid-40s. And he's like, I did it. I got the family. I'm settled. I'm settling in here. Except that the line reads, this then is the line of Jacob. And as Rashi points out, immediately and leapt upon him the problems of Joseph. His Yeshuv Hadat, his settled consciousness is immediately torn apart as his son is later torn apart by a beast, according to what he believes. In other words, not so fast. Rashi goes on to point out in the Midrash that God, in a very sarcastic voice, it appears, says, is it not enough for the righteous to gain the peace that awaits them in the world to come? And then Rashi quotes the original Midrash, which says, when the righteous settle in peace and seek to settle in peace in this world, Satan comes to accuse them. The great scholar Raviva Zornberg points out that there's a certain release of evil when we are so preoccupied with peace that we miss the whole narrative of our lives. Sometimes it's not about peace at all to discern in this world. And that we are endlessly in what is that balance between composition and decomposition. We're always struggling. We look for Yeshuv Hadat, for a settled mind consciousness that is in its place, and we are kicked off balance at any moment. This has been a very unsettling week. Actually, this has been a very unsettling month. We started with the bombings in Paris, and we realized, oh my God, soft targets. They're not just going after the embassy of whatever. They're going to hit a ballroom. They're going to hit a rock and roll concert, regular people. And even then, for us sitting here in comfortable Yeshuv Hadat of Artzot Habrut, of America, we go, yeah, the French are going to have a really hard time. And then, last Wednesday, somebody managed to gain huge assault rifles. We don't know all the details yet, but we know that our inner peace, our inner security, my inner security, has been shattered. Turns out maybe I've been making assumptions about peace and the pursuit of peace in this world that may be out of the time frame of the moment. I'm a child of the 50s. I grew up in a house with a mommy and a daddy and a dog, and I assumed that everybody would be able to go to college, get a good job, the economy would continue to grow, and we would be finally having done World War II, and of course later on discovering the horrific effects of the Holocaust, but immediately believing in the state of Israel, we were going to enter a time of Yeshuv Hadat, of peace, of inner peace. And then we began to see that this may not be the narrative at all. And that we may be looking at the narrative in a very small framework, and we may not understand the story. And so we enter the 21st century, and the towers come tumbling down. And the first years of that century are filled with the dust and detritus of oh my God, we immediately use old patterns and attack a country even if it's not the right country because we don't know what to do. And then slowly we begin to see that our yeshuvadat has been tarafadat, it has been torn apart. Our sense of security has been shaken. And we realize, we don't really understand the mind of somebody who could go into a center where people are helping people with special needs and their co-workers and shoot them with very readily available guns. We don't understand. And the story may be the middle of the story or the beginning of a whole new story. What is the world that will follow the line of Jacob? Joseph later says to his brothers, don't worry. It was for this, for taking the Jews out, that I have been sent to Egypt so that I could save you all at a time of famine. Imagine Jacob, who never hears from his son Joseph for 20 years, because there's another 20 years now, that he will be in his own narrative of becoming second in command in Egypt and doesn't write a postcard home. Turns out our kid's story is not our story. This is the line of Jacob. The world feels particularly dark right now. And the gift, the true gift, is Hanukkah itself. The world has always had these periods of darkness. We've made an assumption that the darkness will be dispelled. Maybe that's why God gets a little sarcastic and says, not so fast, not in this lifetime. Abraham was given a promise of return to the land. It was a 400-year promise. Usually that 400 years is beyond our lifetime and the lifetime of our children's children. We don't know the story. But we have moments of light. And in this moment of darkness, Hanukkah becomes ever more important. In this week, every night, light a candle. Light a candle if you can with your family, with your friends. Find that little light inside that helps us through these times. Till the menorah is blazing on the 8th night, thank you to Hillel, who insisted on the full menorah at the end, to guide us through what is a time, I'm afraid, of darkness and unsettlement. Taruf Hadat, as we try to read what's ahead. Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy every moment of light. Chag Sameach.